It's time for all the news you need and more. Brookland is Live starts right now.
And good Monday morning. Good to be with you all. How are we all doing this morning? Time now 11 a.m. There is a lot of news to get to, and I spelled my name wrong. See, mistakes like that, we're already getting started. Already starting to feel like a Monday. I'm Jackson Mitchell. It is good to be with you. We do have already some news happening this morning we want to get to. First, I need to check in on a feed we are watching. Okay, so Tyler Robinson, who is the suspected killer of Charlie Kirk, is expected, I should say, to appear in court today. Not appear, I should say. I think his case is going to appear in front of the court, and we might get a ruling from the judge on if some of this, the media and some of this evidence is going to be allowed. If you remember, there had been a hearing. I had did kind of an analysis of the hearing over on brooklandnews.com talking about it. And it was a question of, can the media be there, because Tyler Robinson and his lawyers, the defense here, didn't want his shackles to be shown, and pretty much from here up to be shown is all the camera could see. And then the camera accidentally leaked his shackles, and then it was a question, well, if we're already seeing breaches this early in the trial, what will be the dealings there? It appears that it may have begun. I'm just simply waiting to get our feed in. As soon as we get it right here at Brooklyn News headquarters, we will take you there. It doesn't appear, I don't have it in here just yet. So we are still waiting for it to get underway here. Give us just a moment. Okay, we have the courtroom now. I'm going to go to it here. I apologize for the late start. We just didn't know when that was going to begin, and it looks like it is beginning right now. So let's go to that as I am working on getting it in. Okay, the hearing has begun. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to get it in for you. And we do have it. It's from KSL TV here. So here it is. Let's play it out for you.
Missions, oral arguments, and applicable legal authorities, and to thoughtfully evaluate the matters presented. In doing so, the court has remained mindful of its duty to balance competing constitutional interests. Openness and transparency are foundational to our judicial system and essential to maintaining public confidence. At the same time, the public's right to access is qualified, not absolute, and may be limited when a legally sufficient justification exists. The court recognizes the substantial public interest in these proceedings and has approached its review with that interest firmly in mind. The court has independently reviewed the October 24th transcript and audio recording in its entirety in determining whether any restrictions on public access is warranted. The court considered whether such limitations are necessary to protect specific constitutional interests and whether less restrictive alternatives could adequately address those concerns. The carefully limited redactions ordered are narrowly tailored and designed to protect those interests while preserving the public's ability to understand the substance, context, and significance of the proceedings. By way of context, the transcript of the October 24th hearing consists of 83 pages, 80 of which contain verbatim record of the proceedings. Each page includes 25 lines of text, and the transcript reflects just over 2 hours of the courtroom proceedings. The duration of the that hearing was 2 hours and 19 minutes. The closed hearing held on December 11th included detailed arguments from defense, prosecution, and counsel for the news media regarding what portions of the record should remain private and what should be made public. That hearing likewise lasted nearly 2 hours, during which time counsel addressed these issues carefully, line by line and word by word. The court acknowledges and appreciates the diligence, professionalism, and preparation demonstrated by all parties during both hearings. After full consideration of these arguments, the court determined that 246 words, approximately 1 page of the 80-page transcript, should be redacted. No other portions of the transcript were found to warrant restriction. The court further notes that the matters addressed during the October 24th hearing, including issues related to civilian clothing and shackling, are best understood when considered in their full context. The limited scope of the redactions reflect the court's effort to preserve that context to the greatest extent possible. The redacted transcript will be promptly filed on the docket by the end of today. The corresponding audio recording will require additional time to ensure that it precisely reflects the approved redactions and that no protected material is inadvertently disclosed. The court anticipates the audio recording will be available within approximately 2 weeks. This court notes the importance of the audio in addition to the transcript, because hearing what was said and how it was said is equally as important as just the transcript itself. The court's sole objective in this process has been to ensure a fair, orderly, and lawful proceeding that reflects the constitutional rights of the parties while honoring the public's qualified right of access. The court notes that the standing decorum order has also been updated and directs all parties to review the order in advance of future hearings. Accordingly, the court now issues the following order regarding the classification of the transcript and audio recording of the October 24th hearing. And turning to the order itself. The state of Utah and defendant Tyler James Robinson filed a motion to classify the transcript and audio of the sealed October 24th, 2025 hearing as private. Because the press requested notice of all such motions, the court held a closure hearing on December 11th, 2025 to address the classification of the transcript and audio recording of the October 24th, 2025 hearing. Prior to that closure hearing, the parties filed a joint status report identifying some 20 provisions of the transcript for redaction and stating that the balance of the transcript may be classified as public. Having reviewed the relevant pleadings from the parties and representatives of the press and heard oral arguments during the December 11th closure hearing, the court now rules and orders as follows. The public has a presumptive right to access court records. See Utah Rules Judicial Administration 202.02 sub 1. That right, however, is not absolute. To support and achieve certain interests and objectives, a court may close portions or entire court records. Court record. A court may consider any relevant factor, interest, or policy, both in favor of and opposed to closure, in determining whether to redact portions of or close all or part of a court record. In deciding whether to redact or close a court record, a court must balance the interests favoring opening and closing the record, and if it determines to close the record, determine there are no reasonable alternatives to closure. The parties have argued, and the court has considered, the following policy interests in determining the motion. 1, protecting safety interests. 2, protecting privacy interests and non-party participants. And 3, protecting the defendant's right to a fair trial. Approximately half the portions of the transcript the parties seek to redact address courtroom and courthouse security measures. Safety concerns are well recognized as justification for closure of court records. This undoubtedly includes references in the court record to specific safety measures undertaken as part of the court security plan and practices in highly publicized cases. This case generates extraordinary ongoing national and international attention, some of which is threatening in nature to the parties, their representatives, and non-party participants. The safety and well-being of all involved in this matter outweighs the interests of the public that are served by open court records. Nevertheless, and as the parties recognize, the court need not seal the entire transcript and audio of the October 24th, 2025 hearing to protect the safety interests of all those involved. Redacting selective portions of the transcript and the audio that reference security measures will serve safety interests while allowing for as much public access to the remainder of the record as possible. The court hereby orders the redaction of the portions of the transcript corresponding audio referencing security measures identified in the parties' joint status report and further pared down during the closure hearing. These include the following portions of the October 24th, 2025 hearing transcript. Page 4, line 19 through 22, following the word unshackling until the sentence begins with the word and. Page 4, line 25 until page 5, line 1, including the first sentence of the last paragraph. Page 5, line 9 through line 10, following the word proceeding and ending before the word but. Page 5, line 18 and 19, including the entirety of the bailiff's comment. Page 33, lines 17 through 18, following the word courtroom until the end of the sentence. Page 34, lines 5 through 7, following the word arrested until the end of that sentence. Page 35, lines 24 through 25, including the last sentence of that page. Page 36, line 1, including the first word on the page until the sentence begins with the word that. Page 40, line 12 through line 16, following the word outside until the word maybe. Page 41, line 17 through line 21, following the word on until the end of the paragraph. Page 43, line 11 through line 13, following the word jail and ending before the sentence begins with the word and. Page 55, lines 12 through 13, following the word people and ending before the sentence beginning with the word so. Page 64, line 18 through 19.
Alrighty, just that kind of, he's talking about the redactions in this closed hearing that is going to be released here. So, media access to this closed hearing, a transcript of it, will be released. There will be some redactions as you hear Judge Tony Graff of Utah's 4th District Court there discussing what exactly those redactions will be. The next question I think he will address is going to be on cameras in the courtroom. Both the prosecution and defense have kind of argued here. The camera needs to be very, very careful in what they do here. So we're going to turn it back up here and listen back in.
The parties initially identified 6 portions of the transcript to be redacted based off privacy interests. During the closure hearing, the parties withdrew defendants' requested numbers 1, 2, and 11. The remaining 3 requests were significantly pared down. The court has already ordered the redaction of request 3 for security reasons, including page 34, lines 5 through 7, as ordered above. The court also finds that privacy interests support this redaction. The court has considered the interests favoring closure of the remaining 2 requests for redaction and concludes that the information is not of a highly personal or sensitive nature. Privacy interests do not outweigh the public's interest in this case. Therefore, the court denies redactions of the following portions of the transcript: page 35, lines 16 through 17, and page 80, lines 22 through 25. The right to a fair trial seeks to ensure that the one accused of a crime will have his guilt or innocence determined solely on the basis of the evidence introduced at trial. Thus, if disclosure of information poses significant risk of endangering a defendant's right to a fair trial, then closing or sealing a court record to protect that information is justified. Nevertheless, when such information has already been introduced to the public arena, there is a suggestion that no additional damage can be done, and the issue of sealing or closing the record becomes moot. Here, the Joint Status Report identified 4 portions of the transcript for redaction, based on the argument that redaction is necessary to preserve defendant's right to a fair trial. The court is unconvinced that the disclosure of the selected portions jeopardizes that right. The information in question is contained in the charging instrument, whether directly or indirectly, as part of the factual allegations made against defendant and already part of the public arena. If this information poses a risk of violating defendant's right to a fair trial, defendant's first line of defense is found in the rules of evidence and criminal procedure. Closing or redacting these portions of the transcript and audio is outweighed by the interests and the objectives served by open court records and mooted by prior disclosures in the information. Therefore, the court denies the request to redact the following portions of the transcript and audio: page 55, lines 2 through 7, page 60, lines 24 and 25, page 61, lines 1 through 6, and 13 through 14, page 64, lines 11 through 17. These portions also refer to a potential non-party witness. The court has considered redaction to protect the non-party participant from risk of retaliatory physical or mental harm. However, the reference is made to that non-party participant during the October 24, 2025 hearing offers the same but no additional information that can be found in the charging instrument and shared by law enforcement during a press conference. As a result, redacting those portions at this point is a moot issue. For the above reasons, the court orders the following: a transcript of the October 24, 2025 hearing shall be redacted in accordance with this order and entered into the record, and the audio recording of the October 24, 2025 hearing shall be unsealed for the purposes of the court clerk identifying the timestamps corresponding to the redacted portions of the transcript, which selected portions, once identified, shall be resealed. No copy of the unsealed audio shall be provided until the identified portions have been resealed. The court will sign this order today, and it will go into the record. Now, turning to the second issue. And the court now issues the following order regarding the media's request to intervene. 2 groups of media outlets seek to intervene in this matter. Only the state and the defendant, however, are actual parties to a criminal action. The press need not be a party to a criminal action to pursue the public's presumptive right to access public court records. The press has already been provided with a mechanism through Rule 4-202.04 to protect that right and has already utilized it in this matter. For this reason, the court denies both requests to intervene. The court now reiterates and clarifies its order requiring parties to serve all closure or reclassification motions on the media dated November 10th, 2025, as follows. Again, the parties are ordered to serve all closure motions on members of the press who have requested notice. The parties must file proof of service with the court. A closure motion is any motion to classify or reclassify a presumptively public court record under Rule 4-202.02 as any other classification. The parties need not serve notice on members of the press court records that are presumptively not public. A court record means a record that is prepared, owned, received, or retained by this court. This includes hearings. Therefore, the parties are ordered to serve all motions to closure hearings on members of the press who have requested notice. The parties must likewise file proof of service with the court. Nonetheless, the parties are not required to serve notice on members of the press of motions to limit electronic media coverage. If members of the media intend to object to a closure motion and request a closure hearing, such objections and requests must be filed within 7 days of receiving notice. To promote judicial economy and to eliminate unnecessary hearings, the court may decline to hold a closure hearing if no hearing is requested. The foregoing should be treated by the parties as a standing order for the duration of this case. And that concludes the second order of this case. The court wishes all parties a peaceful holiday season and hopes that each of you is able, to the extent possible, to spend time with your loved ones. The next hearing is set for January 16th at 1 p.m. And Mr. Robinson, I will see you there at that time. Court is now in recess.
Alrighty, so that hearing there wrapping up. The next hearing for Tyler Robinson going to be January 16th at 1 p.m. Tyler Robinson, I believe he was inside of the courtroom because the judge did appear to look somewhere there, maybe at a screen, maybe he's appearing virtually. I don't have the exact details, but appears at this point in time that mostly the judge here, Judge Tony Graff, is ruling in favor of the media. Saying that in about 2 weeks the audio recordings of these it's been now 2 closed door hearings will be released with, of course, some redactions. It is the same with the transcripts of those hearings as well. So we will be waiting for that. When we get that in, we will of course bring that to you. The details within that, what that means. The next hearing though for Tyler Robinson now set for January 16th, I should say, at 1 p.m. So a judge saying these recordings will be available again in about 2 weeks. So appearing to mostly rule in favor of the media. We are going to continue to monitor all of this, that is for sure. I want to take you right now though, because if you'll give me just 1 second here, to some video we got in just moments ago over in New York City. A little more of an exciting story. The test confetti drop was held, of course, before the big New Year's Eve celebration in New York City. Here's that video. Maybe. Here we go.
We are going to have some fun today as we're going to test our confetti. I'm so happy to be here with our friends from Planet Fitness, Kay Pancheri, Tom Harris from the Times Square Alliance, Sherry and Montaz from One Times Square. Together we make Times Square New Year's Eve happen. Now I want you to know I've been doing this for over 30 years, testing confetti, and my family asked me, why do we test confetti? Well, I always explain that the first reason that we test confetti is because it's just fun. And the second reason that we test confetti is because we have a huge responsibility, all of us. Because in just 2 days, the entire world will be focused right here in Times Square as we count down the final seconds of 2025. That magical ball will descend, and as it reaches 2026, the ball goes dark, 2026 lights up, and a blizzard of colorful confetti will celebrate the beginning of the new year. And this year, for the first time ever, we are setting a world record here in Times Square with nearly 3 tons of confetti. Yeah, it's pretty cool. More confetti than we've ever done in the history of Times Square New Year's Eve. We're going to start off at 10 p.m. with purple and yellow confetti. At midnight, we have a mixture of colorful rainbow confetti. And then to celebrate America's 250th anniversary year, we're going to have red, white, and blue confetti. 5,500 pounds of confetti. We got to make sure it works. We're going to test it here. I'm going to count down from 5. We're going to test it. You guys let us know how we're doing. Cross your fingers. Are you guys ready? Okay. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! Oh my golly! Look at that confetti go! How we doing? Oh my God, but I gotta tell you, we need a little more wind. Where's that wind? Oh my, yes, we need a tornado of confetti. More confetti! Woo! There we go. Times Square is looking brighter. This is a great day to test confetti because we've got the wet, we got the rain, we're fighting the elements, and yet still we got all that colorful confetti in the sky. We are blanketing Times Square. Let's do it one more time. Let's let it settle down. We're going to try again. I can see we're headed uptown. We need to get a little confetti downtown. You guys need confetti down there. Yeah. Okay, we got little confetti in the face. Do you know when we first started dropping confetti in Times Square, people were concerned. Are we ready? No, we're doing, you guys need, we need one more there, then we're coming to you. One more over here, we're coming to you guys. Don't leave. Are we ready? Yeah, we're ready. You guys ready? Count with me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! Happy New Year! Oh, no clumping of confetti. It is spreading out nicely. It's looking good. Oh, wow. It is really nice. We need to get a little more height. We need taller people. Oh, my golly. Look at it go. When we first started dropping confetti, our confetti is square-shaped in Times Square because it's Times Square. They're 2 inches by 2 inches. People were concerned that the squares could hurt people because of the sharp corners on the paper confetti. I'm happy to say we've never had a confetti injury. Okay, here we go. We're going to do it one more time. Are you guys good or do you need it again? Really, again? Oh my. I think they're getting a little bit confetti hungry here. Okay, one more time here, then we're going over there. Ready? Yes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! Holy cow, look at that confetti go! I have to say that confetti just likes to go uptown. Oh my golly. This is why we have over nearly 3 tons. Okay, I think that looked really good. Oh, they're already leaving. They're coming to join you because the fun is headed here. Can you help me out over here? Oh, thank you, Kay. Okay, good, 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 good. I don't know if you guys know, but starting at 6 p.m. when we light and raise that ball, we've got 6 hours of entertainment for you here in Times Square, starting with Jen O'Hagan singing the Star-Spangled Banner. We work with her every day here in Times Square. Times Square makes this place run 365 days a year, including New Year's Eve. And then we've got all kinds of acts and celebrations, including, oh my golly. Oh, we're ready?
Alrighty, there you go. There was that confetti celebration, the test confetti drop ahead, of course, the big New Year's Eve celebration in New York. There's our continued look there. We will continue to monitor this live shot that we have in. Do want to take you to a shot we are following right now over in Palm Beach, Florida. Yesterday, we saw Trump, excuse me, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Today, we are going to see Trump and Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. That is to come here in just about 30 minutes or so. In the meantime, here I want to recap a little bit about what happened yesterday and take you to this feed from yesterday from the White House here. I should say from the White House's YouTube page, Palm Beach, Florida. This is yesterday in a press conference, a joint press conference held there with Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine.
A lot closer, maybe very close. The president and I just spoke to the European leaders. They were President Emmanuel Macron of France, President Alexander Stubb of the Republic of Finland, President Karol Nawrocki of the Republic of Poland, Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Store of the Kingdom of Norway, Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni of the Italian Republic, Prime Minister Keir Starmer of the United Kingdom of Britain and Northern Ireland, Chancellor Friedrich Merz, the Federal Republic of Germany, Secretary General Mark Rutte, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, President Ursula von der Leyen of the European Commission. We spoke to all of those great leaders. They're all great leaders. And we had a great talk with them after we were completed. We thought it was appropriate to speak with them. And our meeting was excellent. We covered, somebody would say 95%. I don't know what percent, but we have made a lot of progress on ending that war, which is really certainly the most deadly war since World War II, probably the biggest war since World War II. And I want to thank Steve Witkoff, who's here, and I'd like to thank Jared, who's here someplace. Thank you, Jared. And thank you, Steve. What a great job you've done. Jared Kushner, Steve Witkoff, and Marco Rubio is here. Thank you, Marco. And Pete Hegseth is here. Those two people are doing an unbelievable job. And the four people on this one are doing, I don't think anybody could do it. And we'll see if it gets done, but it's very close, certainly. Nobody would even have a chance of getting it to where it is right now. Nobody would have thought that was possible. So I just want to say we've done very well. We've had discussions on just about every subject, and that includes with President Putin before. And we went into great detail, and we likewise went into great detail today. And it was an honor to have you at Mar-a-Lago and have lunch. I hope you enjoyed the food. Your people enjoy the food, I can tell you that. You're big, strong people. Your general over there looks like central casting. I want to also, by the way, speaking of generals, we have a great general, General Raisin Kane, who is here someplace. Thank you, General. Thank you very much. He's great. So, Mr. President, maybe you want to say a few words, and then we'll speak over the next couple of weeks. We'll speak probably quite a bit, but we'll speak tomorrow. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything. Dear colleagues, first of all, I would like to thank President Trump for a great meeting at this amazing place in his home in Mar-a-Lago. And we had a really great discussions on all the topics, and we appreciate the progress that was made by American and Ukrainian teams in these recent weeks. Special thanks to Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, and thank you to for their engagement and full commitment, and also to our team, and first of all to Rustem Umerov and General Gnatov, and to all our teams. And we discussed all the aspects of the peace framework, which includes, and we have a great achievements, 20-point peace plan, 90% agreed, and U.S.-Ukraine security guarantees 100% agreed. U.S.-Europe, Ukraine security guarantees almost agreed. Military dimension 100% agreed. Prosperity plan being finalized, and we also discussed the sequencing of the following actions. And we agree that security guarantees is the key milestone in achieving lasting peace, and our teams will continue working on all aspects. We also had a joint productive call with European leaders, like President Trump said already, and a lot of leaders, including NATO and EU. And we agreed that our teams will meet in upcoming weeks to finalize all discussed matters, and we agreed with President Trump that he will host us, and maybe in Washington, European leaders and Ukrainian delegation, yes, in January. And Ukraine is ready for peace. And once again, would like to thank President Trump for a warm welcome and substantial discussion. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Any questions, please?
The first visit from President Zelensky, 90% and 100%. The U.S. Ukraine security guarantees. What number are we at right now?
Well, I think look, you can say 95%, but I don't like to say percentages. I just think we're doing very well. We could be very close. There are one or two very thorny issues, very tough issues, but I think we're doing very well. We made a lot of progress today, but really we've made it over the last month. This is not a one-day process deal. This is very complicated stuff, but I think when the president says 95, I think, could be close to 95%. Yeah, please, in behind you.
Mr. President, have you agreed on the so-called free trade zone on Donbass? How to separate, the sites? How to make the separation line? Who will be responsible?
The word agreed is too strong. I would say not agreed, but we're getting closer to an agreement on that, and that's a big issue. Certainly, that's one of the big issues, and I think we're closer than we were. Probably it's unresolved, but it's getting a lot closer. That's a very tough issue, but one that I think will get resolved. Yeah, please.
We are receiving some mixed signals coming from Moscow, even after this conference. Can you assure us that you have received written or any formal response from them?
Well, what was the issue? You have to tell me. What did they say?
They are telling that Ukraine has to give up Donbass. Just very recent statement.
Well, that's what they've been asking for, and there's a dispute about that. So they're going to have to iron that out. That's an issue they have to iron out. But I think it's moving in the right direction.
If they reject or delay the solution, peace agreement will achieve.
If something doesn't happen, you mean if something doesn't happen? Yeah, go ahead.
May I ask?
No, go ahead. You were going to finish your question. Well, we'll see. Look, we'll see. But I don't want to talk about that because I think we're getting pretty close. Yes, please.
May I ask the President of Ukraine?
Please.
Yes, about territorial question. Mr. President, what is your take on Donbass status? Are you prepared to see it as a free economic or demilitarized zone?
No, we spoke about 20 points plan, and I'm happy that really our teams very close to results, and I agree with President Trump that our teams worked not one day and not one week, more than 1 month, beginning from Geneva, then 2 meetings in Miami, then we had Berlin, and now we have Mar-a-Lago. So this is a very difficult question. You know our position, so it's we have to respect our law and our people, and we respect the territory which we control. And of course, our attitude is very clear. That's why President Trump said this is a very tough question. And of course, we have with Russians different positions on it.
And have you discussed referendum about...
No, when we speak about referendum, we spoke that it's one of the key. We can have referendum on any kind of points of this plan. I said that we can use referendum like for the plan, or we cannot use referendum. It's one of the key. We can use, this possibility of Parliament to vote according to the law or to have referendum. It doesn't matter. This referendum, if the plan will be very difficult for our society, very difficult, of course our society has to choose and has to vote. Because it's their land, the land not of one person, it's the land of our nation for a lot of generations.
They'll probably have to get their plan approved by Parliament or by referendum of the people. You would think that they want, I know they had a poll that it's 91% in favor of ending this war, so they want to end it like everybody wants. Russia wants it ended, everybody wants it ended, and we want it ended. I want it ended because I don't want to see so many people dying. We're losing massive numbers of people, the biggest by far since World War II. So we want to see it ended, absolutely.
President,
yes.
So you said at the top that you plan to speak again tomorrow. Is that correct?
I might. It depends on what happens tomorrow. If there's an additional something to add, otherwise there's no reason to. We're in the process. Jared and Steve are working very hard to get something done. And if there's something that comes up, I'd speak. But otherwise, I don't think there's any reason to.
In your mind, sir, what are the thorniest issues still unresolved after the?
Well, I think the land you're talking about. Some of that land has been taken. Some of that land is maybe up for grabs, but it may be taken over the next period of a number of months. And you're better off making a deal now. Look, let me tell you, they have been very brave. They fought very hard and continue to fight very hard and do tremendous damage. But Russia would like to see it end, and Ukraine would like to see it. And I think it's time to end. And a lot of very brave people, a lot of people that are dead right now, unfortunately, because I've said, and nobody's disputed it, that if the election weren't rigged and stolen, 2020, you wouldn't have had this war. It would have never happened. And it didn't happen for 4 years. Never was even thought to happen. And I spoke with President Putin. I got along with him very well, despite the Russia hoax, which was a total hoax. He used to say, what is going on over there? But it was a total hoax, as he knew and as I knew. But I spoke to him, and we'd talk about Ukraine. I've said it before. It was the apple of his eye, but he wasn't going to do anything about it. He didn't do anything about it until I was gone, and then a lot of really bad statements were made by people, by a lot of people, I guess, but by a certain president that we had who was a disaster. Yes?
Do you anticipate going to Ukraine if you can get to an agreement? And
I'd have no problem with doing it. You know, I have no problem with doing it. Don't anticipate it. Would like to get the deal done and not necessarily have to go. I've offered to go and speak to their parliament. And, you know, if that would help, I don't know if that would help. I think it would probably help, but I don't even know if that's...
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, I know.
Always.
So I'm not sure that it would be really necessary, but if it would help save 25,000 lives a month or whatever it may be, I would certainly be willing to do that. Yeah, please. No, behind you. Where are you from?
From Ukraine.
Good, I had a feeling. Good.
How about Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant? Have you started discussion?
On what?
Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant.
Yeah, we discussed that at length today. As you know, it's in pretty good shape. It can start up immediately, almost immediately. And it's one of the things I discussed with President Putin. And they were talking about the nuclear plant. That's probably the biggest in the world, just about the biggest anywhere in the world. Can you believe that? And President Putin's actually working with Ukraine on getting it open. He's been very good in that sense. He wants to see that open. And he hasn't hit it with missiles, hasn't hit it with anything. It's a big danger to do that for everybody. But they're working together to try and get it. It can open very quickly. It's in pretty good shape. And the people there have been there for years. The people there running it. You know, they have 5,000 people in that plant. Can you believe it? I learned that today. 5,000 people. It's the biggest plant of its kind in the world. And they're working together to get it open. They could maybe get it open quickly. That's a big step when he's not bombing that plant. It's a big step.
You in the readout from Moscow, they talked about the creation of some working groups.
Yes.
That would be set. Can you tell us about what those working groups
Sure.
would entail? And also, if you wouldn't mind, what is the message that you will give to Putin when you speak to him after your meeting?
So the working group is going to be composed of Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, General Raisin Kane, Marco Rubio, and a few other people that we're going to be putting onto it. I think Pete Hegseth should be in that working group. He knows the territory very well. He's been fantastic at what he's doing. And they may add one or two people. And likewise, Ukraine's going to have some very good people that were at lunch today that enjoyed the lunch today a lot, more than they thought, right? But do you want to say who may be on your working group?
Yeah, we now, as I said, that we work with Steve and Jared. We worked our Rustem Umerov and also Deputy Minister Gislitz and also General Ignatov, and they will continue work in this group. And of course, if we will go further, and I hope that really we will have decisions in January, as I said, about all these documents, 6 documents, and of course we will continue work on this, so they know what to do. Yes.
And that working group, by the way, importantly, will also then be working with Russia, okay? Because to work with ourselves doesn't really solve much of a problem. So they'll be working with Russia. Yeah, please.
This morning you weren't a deadline guy. How long do you think it'll take to get this last little bit, as you say, finished? What are we talking about?
So if it went really well, you know, maybe a few weeks. And if it went poorly, longer. And if it went really poorly, it's not going to happen. That would be a shame. There's that chance also. You know, it's possible it doesn't happen. But, you know, in a few weeks we will know one way or the other, I think. But if it went really well, but it could also go poorly. I mean, you know, we could have something where one item that you're not thinking about as a big item breaks it up. Look, it's been a very difficult negotiation, very detailed. It's funny, I settled 8 wars. Some were going on for 35 years. And we got them settled in a couple of days. Some of them, one was going on for 37 years. I settled it in 1 day. But this is a very complex one.
Are you going to put odds on it? What the bad
No, I think we'll get it done. I don't want to say when, but I think we're going to get it done. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President, you in the past have suggested a trilateral meeting between both Presidents Putin and Zelensky. Is
Right.
that something that is also on the docket?
I see that happening, sure, at the right time. I saw a very interesting President Putin today. I mean, he wants to see it happen. He wants to see it. He told me very strongly. I believe him. Don't forget, we went through the Russia hoax together. And he'd call me, I'd call him, I'd say, can you believe the stuff that they're making up? And it turned out we were right. They made it all up. And despite that, we didn't get into wars and we didn't get into problems, but we weren't able to trade very much or any of that, which was a shame because, you know, a lot of success could have been had by trading with Russia. They have great land, great minerals and other things, and we have things that they want very badly. But the Russia hoax, which was a terrible made-up fictional thing by Crooked Hillary and by Adam Shifty Schiff and bad people, sick people, they made it up. It was all a made-up hoax. But it kept us really from dealing with Russia, kept Russia dealing, you know, from dealing with us. So, but despite that, we got along. And I don't know. I think we're going to get there. I know him very well. I think we're going to get there.
Did you discuss any time, location, meeting place?
Yeah, we're discussing a lot of things. No, look, I was on the phone with him for almost, I guess, 2.5 hours. They're just telling me now. It's a long time. We discussed a lot of things. We didn't talk about the weather. We weren't talking about what a beautiful day it is in Palm Beach, Florida. Yes.
President Zelensky mentioned maybe a meeting with European leaders back in Washington. Would that be in the next few weeks?
Well, in Washington or someplace, yeah. These leaders that I just read, these are great people. You know, they've spent a lot of money on helping Ukraine. And look, they're doing it for themselves also, meaning their country, because Ukraine's a very important country for them in particular. For us, it's very important. To me, it's the lives. You know, we're thousands and thousands of miles. We're protected by a thing called the Atlantic Ocean and lots of other places, to be honest. And they're not, you know, they're right there. But we're working together with them as we should be. But I'm doing it to save lives. You know, we're not spending any money. Biden gave $350 billion away. And the president was nice enough to give us a contract to take out rare earth and things. So we'll see how that all works out. We have a contract, but we appreciated that. He was very good. But we'll see how that works out. But if you think about it, we're going to have. I really believe we're probably, Mr. President, by far closer than ever before with both parties. We had some times when he was close and President Putin wasn't. Then when President Putin was close and he wasn't. You saw that in the White House. But I think they both want to see it happen.
In your conversation with...
You were saying that you've said multiple times that you want to stop the killing. And nearly 100 American citizens are died in Ukraine over that.
Yeah.
What's your message to their families whose loved ones died fighting?
Well, look, I mean, the message is so obvious. It's what a shame. They died in a foreign country. And some are celebrated people. They're very celebrated. But so sad that a thing like that would happen. Yes, ma'am.
Obviously, security is a major issue for the Ukrainians.
Right.
Did you offer any promises, any assurances today?
Well, I did. We want to work with Europe, and Europe is going to take over a big part of it, as you can imagine. You know, they're right there. But we're going to help Europe 100%, like they'd help us. Yes, ma'am, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to ask, when your conversation...
Who are you with?
Andrea Shalal with Reuters.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So in your conversation with President Putin, did you discuss what responsibility Russia will have for any kind of reconstruction of Ukraine post an agreement?
I did. They're going to be helping. Russia's going to be helping. Russia wants to see Ukraine succeed. Once, it sounds a little strange, but I was explaining to the president, President Putin was very generous in his feeling toward Ukraine succeeding, including supplying energy, electricity, and other things at very low prices. So a lot of good things came out of that call today. But they were in the works for 2 weeks with Steve and with Jared and Marco and everybody.
Did Russia agree, or did Putin agree to a ceasefire to allow a referendum to take place?
Not a ceasefire. And that's one of the points that we're working on right now. No, not a ceasefire. He feels that, look, you know, they're fighting and to stop, and then if they have to start again, which is a possibility, he doesn't want to be in that position. I understand that position. The president feels strongly about that or something, but I think we're finding ways that we can get around that. But I understand President Putin from that standpoint. You know, you have to understand the other side. And you know, I'm on the side of peace. I'm on the side of stopping the war. So, but I think that's a problem that's going to get solved. Yeah.
Would people who live outside of Ukrainians who fled during the war be allowed to participate in the referendum?
What do you mean, people where live?
The people that left.
So we have,
you know, if we speak about the people who are abroad, who are not on the territory of Ukraine, you mean that in Poland, in Germany, we have millions of people. Yeah, they have a referendum in the same of elections. In the same way how people come and vote, they have rights for this, and of course they have to come. That's why if we will come to referendum, yes, if we will come to such decision, people need infrastructure for this, and it's not simple, and that's why we spoke about it. It can't be in one day, very quickly. It's difficult because we need infrastructure. When you have millions of people, you have to build it in Europe, mostly in Europe for today.
President Trump, I know you've sounded an optimistic note here, but what happens in a few weeks if things sputter? What are you prepared to do?
They keep fighting, and they keep dying. No good. But if things don't happen, they keep fighting, and they keep dying. And we don't want that to happen. He doesn't want it to happen. President Putin doesn't want it to happen either. Okay? Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Great. Thank you.
Alrighty, that press conference there from yesterday at Mar-a-Lago. Again, if you've been watching here, we do expect today at Mar-a-Lago, President Donald Trump is set to meet with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. We'll see what comes about there. Of course, a ceasefire is in place in the Israel and Hamas war. We'll continue to monitor that. That is at the top of the hour. Okay, want to turn to some news coming in within the last few moments or so. Starbucks saying it will close about 400 of its locations nationwide. They say they have too many stores close together in city centers, cannibalizing sales. This goes even to right here in Jonesboro, where they did have 2 stores. I believe they ended up closing one, keeping the newer one, which is at Johnson and Airport road there. So it's a part of its major $1 billion restructuring focus on performing stores, mainly in dense urban areas like New York City, LA, Chicago, repositioning as a quote third place amidst competition and remote work trends, with many closures in late 2025. So that news again, just in Starbucks planning to close about 400 locations. They say it's due to oversaturation, too many locations in these big cities, too close together, and it's kind of taking sales is essentially what they're saying there. So That's the news just in within the last few moments. So we'll keep our eye on what happens there. We are going to sneak in a quick break here. So much more to come on the next hour of Brooklyn News Live, of course, as we stand by for President Donald Trump there live in Palm Beach, Florida, to speak with Benjamin Netanyahu. We're waiting to get a camera in on that. A quick break. Brooklyn News Live returns in a moment.
Brooklyn News Live starts right now with breaking news.
Alrighty, welcome back into Brooklyn News Live, a brand new hour as we approach 12 p.m. here in the Central Time Zone. I'm Jackson Mitchell. We're continuing our breaking news coverage here because we do expect President Donald Trump within the next few moments and Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to hold a bilateral meeting there at Trump's Florida residence in there at Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida. When that comes, we will bring you there live. In the meantime, we want to take you to a story happening over on Capitol Hill. It's a big one you might want to know about. Speaker of the House, I should say Speaker Emerita, rather, former Speaker of the House, that's where I was going there. She's speaking out in a new interview. That's Nancy Pelosi, who we're talking about, reflecting on her time in politics. Want to start this new hour on that. First, want to go to video of her reacting in an interview with This Week on some moments she had with President Donald Trump. And if you remember, there were quite a few when she was speaker and Trump was in the White House. Take a look.
defining images. I mean, you stood up to him and his team in the cabinet room.
Yeah.
There was the you're ripping up union address, the Oval Office meeting with you and Chuck Schumer, where you really get into them. What is your advice to Democrats on how to handle Trump?
First, all of those incidents you mentioned were spontaneous.
Yeah.
We went to the cabinet and the leadership of the executive branch on security and the rest, and it was picture when I'm looking at them, they've got their heads down.
Yeah, you see General Milley's kind of looking down.
But you know what I'm saying when I go out the door?
What?
I'm leaving here because I've had it with you, Mr. President, with you.
So that was Nancy Pelosi there reacting in that video there on her decades in politics, her very popular moments with, of course, now President Trump. But that was just back in his first term, back when she was still Speaker of the House. I want to play another video for you if we have it. This is, it doesn't look like we have it, so I apologize, but I can kind of break down what was going on in that video. She was talking a little bit about kind of what she had done, her history, and the future of the Democratic Party in the 2026 election. Jonathan Karl, who interviewed her there for ABC's This Week, asked a question like, if the Democrats win in 2026, the midterms, she said, when the Democrats win, we're going to win. She kind of alluded to the fact, rather not to the fact, because it's not an exact fact, but she kind of just said, Americans are fed up with President Trump, and they're going to vote Democrats in 2026. So that was Nancy Pelosi there in an interview on the Sunday show This Week, reflecting on her time in politics. So right now we are standing by, awaiting for any moment now, and we expect to get a look at President Donald Trump, because as soon as we do, of course, he's having that meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu. We mentioned it just a few moments ago. We're waiting to get that in. As soon as we do, we will take you there. And if you'll stand by with me, I'm working to... One moment. I'm working to see if we do have a feed just yet, and it does not look as if we do. Again, as soon as we get it, I will take you there live. What we're going to do right now, Boston city officials, the mayor there, she was addressing the public on Boston's New Year's Eve celebrations that, of course, they have. Let's take you there now and listen in.
Thank you for joining us. Happy almost New Year to everyone. And I hope each of you had a wonderful, joyful holiday with your families and got to relax a little bit. We are here, as usual, to just give a little bit of the updates and preparations behind all the excitement headed into first night in Boston. And I want to thank all my colleagues who you'll hear from shortly, and including those who are here as support for all that they do day to day. So we are joined by our Chief of Emergency Management, Adrian Jordan, Chief of Streets, Nick Gove, Chief of Arts and Culture, Kenny Mascari, our Director of, I always get the Tourism, Special Events, and Sports. Our Director of Tourism, Sports, and Entertainment, John Borders, Chief Kenneth Green of the MBTA, Chief Commissioner Michael Cox of the Boston Police Department, Commissioner Paul Burke of Boston Fire, Chief Jimmy Hooley of Boston EMS, and Madam President Dusty Rhodes of Conventures. I also want to acknowledge Amy Yandel, Amy's down there for some reason, Amy of our special events team, who makes sure that every event across the city goes off seamlessly. Thank you for all that you do. So nearly 50 years ago tonight, our first night tradition began in Boston, when quilter Clara Wainwright brought together a group of local artists and performers to try something new to welcome the new year. A family-friendly celebration of art, joy, and community was born. Now, First Night in Boston is known around the world, and we are proud that of these 50 years, the last 3 now have been on City Hall Plaza. We're continuing the Boston tradition of celebrating with our neighbors and enjoying more than 12 hours of live performances, beautiful ice sculptures, fireworks, a parade, and more. In a moment, Dusty will share more about all the free programming happening on City Hall Plaza and across the city. But first, we want to make sure that everyone stays safe and has a couple reminders, because keeping all of us safe involves each and every one of us. And as always, Boston Police and our first responders will be present throughout the evening. Boston EMS and Fire will have extra personnel on hand in case anyone needs emergency medical support. And we want to remind everyone joining us for first night, this year especially, please dress warmly for the weather. We know that temperatures will be quite chilly, and we want everyone to stay bundled up nice and warm. Don't use or sell fireworks, fly drones, or consume alcohol or other substances in public spaces. And please, if you see anything suspicious, please reach out and report it to make sure, just in case, that everybody is safe. We will hear more from Commissioner Cox, Chief Hooley, and Commissioner Burke as well on how each of their teams have been preparing. On transportation, we also want to make sure that everyone can get safely to and from first night. Because of late night programming, road closures, and parking restrictions, please, if at all possible, take public transportation instead of driving. Starting at 8 p.m. on Wednesday, the MBTA will be offering free service on the T, bus, ferry, commuter rail, and the ride. Service will also run later than usual, with the last trains leaving between 1:45 a.m. and 2:45 a.m., depending on which line. And we'll hear more from Chief Green on all the details and logistics. So thank you to everyone. Happy New Year, and otra vez en español. Buenos días. Estos días hacen casi 50 años nuestra tradición de la primera noche comenzó en Boston. Ahora, por el tercer año consecutivo, en la Plaza de la Alcaldía, continuamos con la tradición de Boston de celebrar con nuestros vecinos, disfrutando de más 12 horas de actuaciones en vivo, esculturas de hielo, fuegos artificiales, un desfile y más. Sabemos que mantener a todos seguros nos hace cuidarnos unos a otros. Por eso, Boston es la ciudad más segura del país. La policía estará presente durante toda la noche y paramédicos tendrán personal adicional a mano en caso de que alguien necesite apoyo médico de emergencia. Y queremos recordar a todos que se unen a nosotros para la primera noche. Visítanse bien para el clima. No usen ni vendan fuegos artificiales. No vuelen drones en ninguna actividad de la primera noche. No consuman alcohol o otras sustancias en espacios públicos e informen a las autoridades de cualquier cosa sospechosa. También queremos asegurarnos de que todos puedan ir y pasar la primera noche de forma segura. Debido a la programación nocturna, los cierres de carreteras y las restricciones de estacionamiento, tomen transporte público en lugar de conducir si posible. A partir de las 8 de la noche, el miércoles, el transporte público ofrecerá servicio gratis en el tren, autobús, ferry y The Ride. El servicio se ejecutará más tarde de lo habitual y los últimos trenes saldrán entre la 1:45 de la mañana y las 2:45, dependiendo de la línea. Gracias y feliz año nuevo.
Okay, that was Boston Mayor Michelle Wu there speaking. We're going to listen here in just a moment on the Boston First celebrations that are held each year, approaching about 50 years of this all. Again, we are also standing by because at any moment we do expect a live shot to come right here from Palm Beach, Florida, where President Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu are meeting. We'll continue to follow that. Anyways, let's take you back over right now to this live shot here this shot from earlier this morning from Boston.
In and around the first night celebrations, both in plainclothes and uniform capacity, to help keep people safe so everyone can enjoy this day and night's events and evening. Because this is a family-friendly event, to reiterate some of the things that the mayor just mentioned, we have a couple of do's and don'ts that we want to emphasize again. Please do not consume alcohol, drink or drive, smoke marijuana, all illegal and will be enforced, as well as use of fireworks. Please leave it to the professionals. Please do not fly drones around the first night activities. Please do dress for the weather. As the mayor mentioned before, it should be cold that evening. Please use public transportation. Chief Green from the T will be here to talk about all the many forms of transportations that are available that night. We will have many blocking vehicles and street closures, so it's really important that you seek alternate modes of transportation. Very important to also emphasize, unrelated to the first night festivities, is that in all our cities and communities throughout the city, we'll have a full complement of police officers working to make sure that all parts of our city are safe. If you are anywhere in the city, if you see something, please say something. If there's large parties, unruly behavior, large noise, or you just have a concern, please dial 911 and let us know. Whether you're in a neighborhood first night or if you're in any part of our community, it's really important that if you see something, say something, and so we can all have a very safe New Year. Up next will be Chief Burke from the Fire Department. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning, everybody. Public safety is our top priority during first night festivities. The Boston Fire Department will be fully prepared with additional staffing and specialized resources. We'll be located throughout the city with the ability to respond quickly to emergencies along with our police officers and EMTs. As usual, we'll be working closely with our public safety partners to keep this event safe for all. Our members will be focused on fire prevention, emergency medical response, and rapid coordination during any incident. We will also have additional personnel dedicated to ensuring safety during the fireworks display. Our nightclub inspectors will be monitoring places of assembly for overcrowding and compliance with fire and life safety codes. All of our personnel will be wearing high visibility gear and be positioned in key locations. Members of the public should feel free to approach any firefighter, police officer, or EMT with questions, concerns, or if assistance is needed. Remember that if you see something that concerns you, please say something to the nearest public safety official. We encourage everyone to celebrate responsibly, stay aware of your surroundings, and follow instructions from public safety officials if an emergency arises. Our goal is for First Night to be a safe and enjoyable event for all residents, visitors, and families alike. Chief James Hooley from EMS will be speaking next.
Thank you, Commissioner. Morning, Mayor. Morning, everybody. Just quickly, Boston EMS is proud to support this great event, the series of events that are associated with First Night going back all these many years. However, just like any big event, we realize that it's First Night in every neighborhood of the city, right? So across the whole town. So we realize that we want to keep up a good posture in our neighborhoods, as well as downtown to support the events that we hope everybody does come out to and enjoy. So with that, I would say that, whether you're celebrating with us at First Night in Boston or you're ringing in the new year elsewhere, we encourage everyone to take some simple steps to ensure it's a safe night and enjoyable. Sometimes some unnecessary trips to an emergency room can be avoided by some simple steps and common sense. So first of all, celebrate responsibly. If alcohol is going to be part of your plans, please drink in moderation, pace yourself, know your limits. Celebrating responsibility also means looking out for yourself and the people you're with. So if you're hosting at home or if you're attending events, whatever, be a good buddy, be a good friend, be a good host, be a good wingman, wingwoman, whatever. Keep an eye on the people you're with, okay? Don't let somebody wander off, or if they've had a little bit too much, take care of them. Make sure you get them home safe, or arrange for that to happen. Please have a transportation plan ahead of time for yourselves. Use the MBTA, a ride share service, or designate a sober driver. Have that plan in advance. Dress appropriately, as the mayor pointed out. The weather can be a great equalizer, and sometimes folks, when they get dressed up, they don't plan for how cold it's going to be come closing time. As always, we'll be here well, if you need us. For large events like this, we do staff additional personnel and dispatch operations, ambulances across the city. Members of special events will have extra equipment out on the common and a lot of the areas where, where the fireworks and other things are going to be. So, feel free to come up to us. Again, we look forward to this every year. This is a family-friendly event, and everybody from, I want to thank all the EMTs and paramedics at Boston EMS and all the public safety, healthcare, the hospitals, all the city officials. They're going to be staffing up extra to make this a good event citywide. And happy 2026, Boston. Oh, and it's my pleasure at this time to introduce Chief Transit Police Chief Ken Green.
Thank you, Chief. Good morning. I want to start by encouraging everyone to utilize the MBTA transportation system to come into the city of Boston to enjoy all the festivities. But as a reminder, the first night celebration is a family-oriented event, so please act responsibly and be respectful to one another, to include being respectful to MBTA personnel, the very same people who are responsible to get you to your destination in a timely and safe manner. The consumption of alcohol and or unruly behavior will not be tolerated while you're riding on the MBTA. We will have additional transit police officers, both uniformed and in plain clothes. We will also have our special operations units assigned to this event as well to ensure the safety of all of our riders. Currently, there are no known threats, credible or otherwise, that would suggest that the MBTA is a target. However, we'll stay in close communication with our local, state, and federal law enforcement partners throughout this event, just to stay on top of any intel that may arise. But if you should see something, please do not hesitate to say something. The transit police can be contacted at 617-222-1212, or you can simply speak to any public safety official or transportation official you see at the event to report anything suspicious. The main thing is just to alert law enforcement that something is suspicious. If you have a smartphone, take a moment to download the free CSAY app that the MBTA provides for its riders. This app will allow you to send messages and or photographs that go directly to a monitor, which is monitored 24/7 by our dispatchers at Transit Police Operations. You will receive a reply, but we may or may not need additional information, but we'll send officers to that location immediately to investigate. Another feature for this app is when you send all that information to us, you can remain anonymous. It's a great app to have. It's a great tool for us to, or helps us to keep our system safe. So take a moment to download that free app. Regarding service on New Year's Eve, as the mayor has already stated, at 8 p.m., the subway, bus, ferry, and the ride will be free. Commuter rail service will be free on trains that arrive or depart North or South Station from 8 p.m. through the end of service. Also, the subway will run on a regular weekday schedule until 3 p.m. After 3 p.m., services will increase. The commuter rail, bus, ferry, and ride will run on a regular weekday schedule. If any additional information is needed regarding service on the MBTA for New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, please access our website at mbta.com. Next up, President of Conventions, Dusty Rhodes.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief Commissioner, Mayor. Thank you so much for letting us be here. I want to emphasize the word first, because First Night was the first of its kind in the country, and 50 years later, we're here, and we're still here, and we could not be here if it weren't for the people behind me, because without the support of all these public safety agencies and city efforts, we couldn't do this. Hundreds of thousands of people will come to this free event, but the beauty of the event is the children. They're absolutely charming to see the baby strollers and the little kids with the little fluffy fluorescent things in their hair and in their garb. It's truly charming. And the day starts off with 12 hours of entertainment in 10 locations around the city. And we're thrilled to be able to have everything centered here at Government Center. We also have activities over at Copley Square, we're glad to have some things back there, and the Public Library and the Boston Common, archery, skating, 2 fireworks displays. 7 o'clock, Mugar Family Foundation, after these many years, again, is having the 7 o'clock fireworks. And of course, then at midnight, we have over Boston Harbor. And between the ice sculptures and the music and the entertainment and the puppets, we really encourage everyone, come on down. It's one night a year. You can bring your family and enjoy it so much. And thank you again to the people behind me, because we couldn't do it without you. Thank you.
Did you say archery? You said archery? Yes. Okay, I don't know how Commissioner Cox let that one by, but come on down. Questions for anyone?
Just curious, it's been a few years now since things have moved over here from Copley. Just curious if you feel like this is a safer place to hold this event? Is it easier for transit? What makes City Hall Plaza a great spot for the main event?
I'm going to start with safety, and then I'll chime in on the plaza overall.
Naturally, Copley Square went under major renovation. Let me go back even further. First night used to be ticketed and in indoor venues. We consolidated into Copley Square about 15 years ago because there's just such great architecture, and we wanted it all in one place. Then the construction, so we moved over to Government Center. In an ideal world, we would be able to, going forward, be in several locations in the city. I can't speak to security or safety. I turn that back over to you, Commissioner.
It doesn't matter where the venue is in the city. Our job is to make sure it's a safe event, and we do all we can by partnering with all our public safety partners that are here in the public to make sure that we're safe. And so, yeah, it doesn't really matter where the places are. Thank you.
And City Hall Plaza had also undergone some major renovations in the last few years to make it fully accessible to everyone, to create a more usable sense of space. And so it's been nice to get good usage out of that. And as Dusty said, the hope is that once all of these spaces are up and running again, this event continues to grow for the next 50 years, and we'll be able to use each and every one of the options that are available.
Is the plan to kind of keep Brookland Center at City Hall Plaza even after the construction's done with Copley, or what's the, I'm saying going forward, not this year, but 2027, 2028, etc.?
Yeah, well, we have, I think, one really exciting bit of additional planning that's happening on top of everything that we're talking about for the next several months is all of the summer festivities that will be taking place in summer of 2026 between Tall Ships, World Cup, and the semi-quincentennial celebrations. We'll get a good sense then with all of the major spaces really being utilized to their max, what works, how, and how all the pieces can fit together. People often like to be able to go from place to place as well, and so creating distinct and unique.
All right, you've been listening in there for the last few moments or so to Boston Mayor Michelle Wu there and the other city officials speak on preparations for Boston First, of course, an event they have held for many years now in Boston, Massachusetts, for New Year's Eve. We do want to take you right now to this camera we are getting in from Palm Beach, Florida. Let's take you there right this moment. This is a camera. We do expect, of course, the reason we've been watching this is because we're kind of expecting here at any moment to, to hear from the motorcade there. You're seeing the motorcade of Benjamin Netanyahu, what appears to be the motorcade there, as we are expecting here at any moment to see a meeting between the two. There we go, maybe waiting for permission to continue making their way through. I believe we have another camera we might be able to grab here very quickly. I'm not exactly sure, but I think we might have another camera. And I'm not sure if this is going to work how it did yesterday as well when we have when we have some type of a little bit of a break, and then we see the two again. So I'm not sure if it's going to be the exact same way here. So we'll have to see if. Okay. So we've just gotten. I have a second camera that I'm now able to show you guys. If you will hold with me here, I'm gonna try to pull up this shot for you. Um. Here we go. Okay, it looks like we might have gotten it. Looks like, yeah. So we do have a second shot, the same shot we saw yesterday. It appears that this meeting might go exactly how it went yesterday with the Ukrainian president. And we might see a little press moment, a little what they call a spray between the two. A few questions are asked. And then they meet, and then after the meeting, a press conference. And it just looks like they're lowering the gate right now so that motorcade can begin its entrance, and maybe that is what had occurred there. So there is President Donald Trump we're now seeing just exiting that room there. We'll stick with this shot. It appears to be waiting on Prime Minister Netanyahu to arrive in his motorcade. I'll turn the audio up just a little bit here to see what we can hear. Here we go. Let's listen in.
Does anybody recognize this man? Not too many people. They've been very fair, actually, for the last 3 days.
President Trump, are you going to have a green light for another attack in Iran?
Okay.
Go ahead. Mr. President, how quickly should the folks move to phase 2 of the peace plan for Gaza?
As quickly as we can, but there has to be a disarmament. You know that we have to disarm with Hamas. So one of the things we'll talk about certainly, but there has to be a disarming of Hamas. Otherwise, very quickly. Yeah.
Can you say anything more about the explosion in Venezuela that you mentioned in a radio interview? Did the military do that? Can you share any more details about
Well, it doesn't matter, but there was a major explosion in the dock area where they load the boats up with drugs. They load the boats up with drugs, so we hit all the boats, and now we hit the area. It's the implementation area. That's where they implement, and that is no longer around.
Is that the only strike that the U.S. has done?
I don't want to comment.
President Trump,
News.
yesterday there was an explosion overnight, and the Russians say that Ukraine tried to hit the residence of President Putin. Do you have any information?
No, I don't know about it, actually, and I don't, I just heard about it, actually, but I don't know about it. No.
Did you speak with
That would be too bad. That would not be good.
What was the outcome of your telephone call with President Putin this
I
morning?
had a very good talk this morning. I waited till this morning because it was pretty late by the time we finished, like 2:30 in Russia, 2:30 in the morning. And we had a very good talk. We spoke at 8 o'clock in the morning hour time, and it was a very productive talk. I mean, we have a few very thorny issues, as you can imagine. He knows about thorny issues probably better than anybody in the world, but it's working out. We have a couple of issues that we're going to get resolved, hopefully, and if we get them resolved, you're going to have peace. You're going to have Ukraine. They're losing 26,000 soldiers a month. Can you believe it? A month, 26,000 young, beautiful soldiers, and plus some people in Kiev, and relatively small, but a lot, you know, still people, and it's a lot of people. But 26,000 soldiers were killed last month. Yes, please.
President Trump, are you going to allow Turkish forces, or do you expect Turkish forces to be stationed in Gaza?
So I have a great relationship with President Erdogan, and we'll be talking about it. And if it's good, I think that's good. And a lot will be having to do with Bibi. We're going to be talking about that. But Turkey's been great, and he's been, excellent as far as I'm concerned. I don't know about you. To me, he's been very good.
Can you guarantee that?
Sure.
Mr. President, can you tell me a little bit about your relationship with Prime Minister Netanyahu and how important it is for you to see him be pardoned by the Israeli president?
Look, he's a wartime prime minister. He's done a phenomenal job. He's taken Israel through a very dangerous period of trauma. Israel, with other people, might not exist right now, if you want to know the truth. That's a pretty big statement, but it's true. I feel that. You had the wrong prime minister. Israel right now would not exist because they were met with a force the likes of which very few countries could have handled. And we worked together, and we were extremely victorious, to put it mildly. Now I hear that Iran is trying to build up again, and if they are, we're going to have to knock them down. We'll knock them down. We'll knock the hell out of them, but hopefully that's not happening. I heard Iran wants to make a deal. If they want to make a deal, that's much smarter. They could have made a deal the last time before we went through, a big attack on them, and they decided not to make the deal. They wish they made that deal. So I think, again, they should make a deal. They want to make a deal, but sometimes that doesn't happen. Yeah, please.
Mr. Trump, hi, Nadav Elimelech, I-24 News Israel. Would you support the overthrow of the Iranian regime?
Of who?
Iranian regime.
I'm not going to talk about overthrow of a regime. They've got a lot of problems in Iran. They have tremendous inflation. Their economy is bust. Their economy is no good. And I know that people aren't so happy, but don't forget, every time they have a riot or somebody forms a group, little or big, they start shooting people. They kill people. And the people tend to... I've watched this for years. There's tremendous discontent. They form 100,000, 200,000 people. All of a sudden, people start getting shot. And that group disbands pretty quickly. So I've watched it for years. They're vicious, vicious people. Yeah.
Mr. President, will you support an attack, Israeli attack on Iran, if Iran will not have a deal? If Iran will continue with their ballistic missiles and also nuclear weapons?
If they will continue with the missiles, yes. The nuclear, fast. Okay? One will be yes, absolutely. The other was, we'll do it immediately.
Mr. President, Yaron Avraham from Channel 12 News. What are your plans regarding Gaza for the next few weeks?
Well, we're going to be dealing on Gaza. That's why this very great prime minister is here right now. We're talking about Gaza. We're talking about a lot of things. We have about 5 major subjects that we're discussing, and Gaza will be one of those subjects.
Mr. President, can you guarantee that the last hostages, Ran Philip, will be released before we'll continue to the second phase of the Gaza plan?
Well, let's put it this way. Every hostage just about that's been released was released because of me, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, my whole team, Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth. They were all released because of us. None were released in the Biden administration, none. They were all released because of us. Then we had a lack of releases with respect to the dead. And all of a sudden they started coming back because I said, nope, you said you were going to. We have one wonderful young man whose parents are right now inside. And he's, what beautiful parents, a beautiful brother, sister, and like a beautiful family, and they're waiting for the son. It's the only one left, and we're doing everything we can to get his body back. And the parents just said, hopefully he's alive. And I said, I love you to think that way. Okay?
President
so we're
Trump,
doing everything we can.
do you have President Trump,
Out of all of these people, and I'm not just talking about the final 20.
Right.
Look at all of the people. What do you think the total number is?
255.
255.
254 came out, one more.
Think of that. And we got them all.
President Trump, does the reconstruction of Gaza, President Trump, does the reconstruction of Gaza, does the reconstruction of Gaza will begin even before Hamas is disarmed?
I think it's going to begin pretty soon, yeah.
Before Hamas
He's looking forward to it, so am I. Look, what a mess. what a mess it is. And it's been a mess for centuries, really. It's been a mess for a long time. It's seems to be born for that, but we're gonna straighten it out. No, we're already starting certain things. We're doing things for sanitary conditions and others. But Gaza's a tough place. You know the expression, it's a tough neighborhood. That's truly a tough neighborhood. Yeah, you had a question in the back? Go ahead. Yeah, please, go ahead.
I'll ask about the relationship between you and the Prime Minister.
What about it?
They said that there is no relationship, good relationship between you.
I don't think it can be better. We just won a big war together. You know, if we didn't beat Iran, you wouldn't have had peace in the Middle East because nobody would have been able, the Arab countries who have been fantastic would not have been able to make a deal. If we didn't wipe out their nuclear, we wiped it out. If we didn't wipe out with our beautiful B-2 bombers, if we didn't, and we sent a lot of Tomahawks in there also, by the way, from a submarine.
And what about the pardon that the President of Israel needs to give the Prime Minister?
A pardon?
A pardon.
I think he will. How do you not? He's a wartime prime minister who's a hero. How do you not give a pardon? You know, I think it's a very hard thing not to do it. I spoke to the president, and it's on. I mean, he tells me it's on its way.
Mr. President,
You can't do better than that, right? Please.
Mr. President, can I follow up on Venezuela? Was the facility taken out by the U.S. military, or was it another entity like the CIA?
Well, I don't want to say that. I know exactly who it was, but I don't want to say who it was. But you know, it was along the shore.
Mr. President, have you or anyone in your administration talked to Maduro in recent days?
Well, I spoke to him.
Recently?
Pretty reasonably, but nothing much comes of it. Yeah.
Mr. President, can you explain the importance?
You have to understand what he's done. They've sent billions of dollars of drugs in, but maybe just as bad, they've sent hundreds of thousands of people in from jails, from prisons, from mental institutions and insane asylums. The drug lords, the drug dealers were all sent into our country. But think of it, what he's done. Tren de Aragua, probably the worst gang. They cut off people's fingers. One man made a phone call to complain about them. He cut off their hand. They cut off his hand. Don't ever make a phone call again. We'll cut off your other hand. After that, we'll kill you, they said. That was in Colorado. No, they sent in all of the bad ones. They sent in some bad people. And that to me was just terrible. And they send in drugs. Now, I will say this, 97% of the drugs coming in by sea stopped. We're trying to figure out who the other 3% are. They have a hard time getting people to pilot those boats. But 97% of the drugs coming in by the ocean, by the sea, by water, are gone. Every boat that we take out, we save 25,000 lives of Americans. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you. We're going to have a big meeting, and we'll see you in a couple of hours if you'd like. And if you'd like, you can come up and have lunch like you did yesterday. Would you like that or not? Do you want that? Because some of them think it's terrible. It's a bribe. But, you know, a bribe for $25, I don't know. If you'd like, you can go. And if you don't, you can stand in a driveway and melt. All right? But if you want, will you work on that, Margot? Is Margot doing a good job? She's a star. She's too nice. Her only problem is she's too nice to you. And you're not nice to us, but that's okay. Margot, take them up and have a beautiful lunch, and we'll see you later.
Are you worried that the alleged strike on Putin's residence could scuttle the peace?
Yeah, I don't like it. It's not good. I heard about it this morning. You know who told me about it? President Putin told me about it. Early in the morning, he said he was attacked. It's no good. It's no good. Don't forget, you know, the Tomahawks. I stopped the Tomahawks. I didn't want that. Because we're talking about, you know, it's a delicate period of time. This is not the right time. It's one thing to be offensive, because they were offensive. It's another thing to attack his house. It's not the right time to do any of that, and can't do it. And I learned about it from President Putin today. I was very angry about it. Please. What? Well, it came out. Well, we'll find out. I mean, you're saying maybe the attack didn't take place. It's possible too, I guess. But President Putin told me this morning it did.
One question, Mr. President. Can you expound on the importance of a strong relationship with the State of Israel? And Mr. Prime Minister, you called President Trump the strongest friend for the State of Israel. You worked with numerous administrations, numerous presidents. Can you expound on that and what makes President Trump such a strong friend for the State of Israel?
Why don't you go first?
I'll say it again and again and again. We've never had a friend like President Trump in the White House. It's not even close. And I think you can judge that by not merely by the frequency of our meetings, but by the content and the intensity. I think Israel is very blessed to have President Trump leading the United States, and I'll say leading the free world at this time. I think it's not merely Israel's great fortune, I think it's the world's great fortune.
Well, I just want to say that it's very important who the Prime Minister and President of Israel is. We have a great relationship. It was an honor to speak before your leaders. That was a great honor for me. I think it has not happened before, or something they told me. But the relationship's been extraordinary, and Bibi's a strong man. He can be very difficult on occasion, but you need a strong man. If you had a weak man, you wouldn't have Israel right now. Israel would have been, Israel with most other leaders would not exist today. They would not exist. And now they're stronger than ever. Yeah, please.
Are you going to ask Netanyahu to sign this agreement with Syria?
Well, I hope he's going to get along with Syria, because the new president of Syria is working very hard to do a good job. He really is. I know he's a tough cookie, and he's, you're not going to get a choir boy to lead Syria. That's the one thing I will say. So I hope they're going to get along, because, I dropped the sanctions on Syria because otherwise they wouldn't have had a chance. We want to see Syria survive. So we're going to be talking about Syria too. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good time. Go have a good lunch.
Prime Minister Netanyahu,
Thank
there's
you.
a lot of steps regarding.
After you hear these things, I think better to quit now. Thank you.
Thank you.
President Donald Trump, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu there, speaking for some time. We'll see what happens here. Yesterday, the press was ushered in there. Then they were put inside the room. We'll see if that happens again. Yesterday, this is there in the meeting with the Ukrainian leader there. It looks like he may have lost that feed. We'll go to our wide shot that we have of Palm Beach right now. Showing you, maybe. There we go. So we'll just wait here and see what comes about on that front, because the White House, they are live over on their page, but they have never started. It just is like this. So we'll watch it. What I do want to turn to right now is something a little sad, because I think it's got to be something you want to hear about. This is the funeral for firefighter Timothy Burtz. He's a recent graduate of the St. Paul Fire Academy. This is in the St. Paul, Minnesota there. He's also a Navy SEAL veteran. He died following a serious medical event. This is the public memorial service being held. Cameras in the room. We'll turn the audio up here and listen.
Gabby, Josh, and Tim, it became very clear that the Harris Fire Department holds a significant place within the Lino Lakes Fire Department family. Those relationships matter. They strengthen us, and Tim was a bridge between our departments, someone who embodied what partnership, mutual respect, and shared mission truly looked like. We will never forget the impact Tim made on this department and how deeply he cared, how honestly he worked, and how meaningful he contributed. But most of all, we are grateful for relationships he helped build, for the partnerships that will continue, and for the brotherhood and sisterhood that will endure because of him. Tim Burtz served with integrity. He served with heart. He was all in all the time, and he will always be part of the Lino Lakes Fire Department family. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
As you have heard and can see, Tim fell in love with firefighting for its ability to help people and had long thought of joining the St. Paul Fire Department. That dream came true on October 27th when Tim brought his experience, attitude, and drive to St. Paul. Here to speak on behalf of the St. Paul Fire Department is Fire Chief Butch Inks.
Professional, respectful, had integrity, sense of duty, had honor, was a hero, he was brave, desire to help people, ride or die, all in all the time. And I will never let you down. These are words and phrases that have been said to describe Tim, and words Tim has said and lived by. And it's no accident Tim lived a life of service. I'm Butch Inks, I'm the Fire Chief of the St. Paul Fire Department, and today we come together with heavy hearts to honor the life and service of firefighter Timothy Pertz. Tim's life with the St. Paul Fire Department was far too short. But his life of service was long. It was intentional and it was meaningful. His journey did not begin with us. It began years earlier with a decision to serve something greater than himself. Tim was a decorated military veteran, and when that chapter of his life came to an end, his calling to serve did not. He was looking for a way to continue serving after leaving the military, and he found that purpose in the fire and EMS service. Service wasn't something Tim did, it's really who he was. Tim carried his military discipline and life experience into the fire service. And in the academy, he led quietly and consistently. He mentored younger recruits, offered perspective when it mattered most, and modeled what it meant to be part of a team. Though he was older than many of his classmates, he never placed himself above them. He earned respect through humility, preparation, and just good old-fashioned hard work and integrity. Graduating from the St. Paul Fire Academy was a fulfillment of a dream for Tim. Wearing this badge mattered to him. Serving this city mattered to him. And even in the brief time he was with us, his presence and leadership made a lasting impact on those who trained with and worked alongside of him. Tim's life was defined by service, and even in death, he continued to give. In one final, selfless act, Tim chose to be an organ donor. In the midst of an unimaginable loss, his family honored that wish. And because of Tim, lives will be saved. His legacy will continue not only in memory, but in the lives of people he will never meet. And because of Tim, I renewed my license 4 days ago, and I too became an organ donor. As a fire chief, I have stood at many academy graduations, welcoming new firefighters into our department. And just days ago, I stood at Tim's academy ceremony, handing out badges where I handed Tim his St. Paul Fire badge. But that moment was different because I'm retiring tomorrow. Tomorrow is my last day. And as I stood there, really I felt a wave of emotion. I looked out and saw tears in my wife's eyes, and suddenly I became choked up. In that moment, it really became real to me. And I realized that this was the last time I would hand out those badges. The last time I would put on this Class A. And I felt the weight and pride of what it truly means to welcome somebody into this profession, into this family. But when I later heard the news about Tim, I was heartbroken. I felt the pain of the women and men of our department. I felt the pain of the many current and former people Tim had served with throughout his life. But the deepest of all, I felt the pain of his wife, Andrea, and their family and friends. And someone said to me, "I'm sorry you have to go out this way." And I know they meant well, but I don't see it that way. Every one of us who has ever put on a uniform does so to serve others. And I'm grateful and honored that I'm still here to lead our department through a moment like this, to make sure our people are okay, to ensure they lean on Tim's memory, lean on each other, and continue to serve in the way that Tim did. And most of all, I'm honored to stand here today to celebrate Tim, to ensure his life of service and dedication is recognized, it's celebrated, and not forgotten. And finally, to Andrea and Tim's family and friends, in moments like this, it becomes clear how strong the Fire family is. This room full of people.
Okay, I want to quickly interrupt because we've just gotten a live feed into the room where the two are meeting. Of course, that's Benjamin Netanyahu, Donald Trump. Let's turn the audio up.
And then, so I did 8 of them. And then I'll tell you the rest of it. How are you doing, okay? You going to all be outside, the beautiful sun? Good. Enjoy your lunch. It's a very good group. We've made a lot of progress already. We had about a 5-minute meeting, and we've already settled about 3 of the difficulties. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Press. Thank you, Press. Thank you, Press. Thank you, Press.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. They can't get enough. Well, they can't. But just think so. I said an 8 word.
Okay, we were trying to stick with the shot as long as we could there. But looks like we may have lost it again. We'll take it back to our wide shot. We just got a shot there really quickly there of that meeting that was happening. We were, again, trying to stick with it as long as we could. We lost it there. I think, so yesterday they did a similar thing, and we were, I was a little confused, as if, like, okay, is this going to be, are we going to see the meeting? Like, that's, like, not usually something that would happen in front of the cameras, but it looks like what they're doing is kind of just more of a photo op, and then they go back to meeting there. So we'll keep watching, monitoring those cameras. When we get another shot, we will take you there live. In the meantime, back to this Forest Lake, Minnesota funeral for the firefighter Timothy Burtz. Let's crank the audio back up here.
But not in the classical sense. He really became a part of it. A few years ago, Tim joined our local fire department in Harris. Quickly, Tim began to be a crucial member of what we are and stand for today. My personal experiences started with Tim as a friendship late in 2023 with cleaning up a messy storage room at our hall. In that time, he got to be my punching bag with life frustrations and career aspirations and pondering where one fits here in this time. At this time, Tim encouraged and motivated me to go back to school and obtain my EMT for a better chance at becoming a full-time firefighter. Soon following, I proudly told him of a program at Pine Technical Community College that worked with my work schedule that I was going to sign up for. To which his response is, when are we starting? Tim always was a man to walk into any room with you and fight for you in any room that you aren't in. I'm incredibly lucky to have had Tim beside me throughout our time together. He's taught me how to be a good student, show me what it takes to be a strong leader and a good teammate to your spouse, and show me the true meaning of brotherhood. I ponder back at what I thought was just a simple day of shooting bow, a full archery draw, solving the world's problems, or just letting arrows fly side by side while having a discrete competition on who hit a closer grouping, or who got to the truck and geared up faster while working shift together. But my favorite memories of all are sitting around the table, talking smack, telling stories about fire calls and all the work we did, or how dirty our gear got, or whose gear was more dirty based on who did more work. If you had the pleasure of being near this debate, you understand. Some of my favorite memories of my time with Tim are when we were in EMT school together, and all of the hilarious jokes to us that our teacher, Mr. Singh, probably didn't think were very funny at the time. Or showing me how to read sign for deer and stay concealed from them in preparation for me to bow hunt my first year. This year, with his old Matthews bow that he gave me. Tim showed me the importance of camaraderie and discipline, loyalty, and care for the job that's necessary for you to be the best you could be and be the man or woman you would want showing up to your loved one's emergency, and how to be a good man with strong values and dedication to service and family. Tim, I'll miss our friendship, but I'll cherish your message of trying to help everyone around you stay encouraged, be uplifting to all, and cherish on friends chasing a dream. And cheer on friends chasing a dream. Also lend a hand to anyone if needed, whenever it's convenient or not. Andrea, thank you for letting us become part of Tim and yours lives. And thank you for letting me speak today. It's an honor. Tim, thank you for all the great memories of, forgive my language, talking shit, hoping to be the first in on a fire, or listening to music in the back of our favorite truck, Engine 3, while driving for hours listening to NWA or slow slag country songs, hoping to get toned out for a chance to do our job together. Love you, brother. I'll see you at the big one. I got dibs on the 4-foot hook.
Thank you, Josh. There are two other traditions commonly used in a ceremony of a fallen firefighter: the last alarm and the IAFF Medal of Honor. The first of these is the last alarm. IAFF Local 21 President Kyle Thornburg will deliver the last alarm.
The sound of a bell holds special significance for firefighters. Historically, the toll of a bell summoned members to the fire station. It signaled the beginning of their tour of duty, and when the call was completed, the bell rang again to indicate that the company had returned home to quarters. When an individual takes their oath to become a St. Paul firefighter, their greatest act of bravery has been accomplished. Everything that follows is in the line of work. In the St. Paul Fire Department, the alarm code 115 signifies that Brother Burtz has returned home to quarters. The local 21 Honor Guard will now ring out that code to welcome home firefighter Timothy Burtz.
Alrighty, you are watching there the funeral there for Timothy Burtz. We have just entered a new hour here of Brooklyn News Live. Stand by here as we continue our coverage.
Brooklyn News Live starts right now with breaking news.
And we are going to continue our coverage here on Brookland News Live with our breaking news. We are continuing to follow the meeting happening right now between Benjamin Netanyahu and President Trump in Palm Beach, Florida, at Trump's residence, Mar-a-Lago. When we get an update or a camera shot from there, we will take you there. In the meantime, our continued coverage of the funeral here for Timothy Burtz. And for those just joining us in this new hour, I'll tell you a little bit about Timothy. He often is referred to as Tim. He was a recent graduate of the St. Paul Fire Academy, also a Navy SEAL veteran, and he had a serious medical incident at his home. A veteran of a soon-to-be firefighter at the St. Paul. He had recently graduated it. He had been previously a firefighter with other agencies. And now we're at the point where you're watching his public memorial service. As you see there, he passed on December 22nd and was born on January 5th of 1973.
tough thing to follow. Though I wish it were under different circumstances, over the past few days, I had the opportunity to spend time with Andrea, Rick, Sandy, and Katie, and many of the members of Tim's family, coworkers, and friends. I've listened as they shared memories and watched those that love Tim come and pay respects and support each other. I've learned much about Tim that I hadn't heard before. Some of the stories sound more like a movie script than real life, whatever that is. He has a stack of medals earned under circumstances that are classified and may never be fully known. I'm guessing if we knew the extent of his experience, we would marvel at the extraordinary life he lived and the way he did it. That life might have been enough for most people, but Tim's call to serve others was strong. We have heard it said that Tim was living out his lifelong dream by becoming a firefighter, how he was drawn to ways he could serve his community and those he loves. We have heard stories of his remarkable military career, followed by an equally remarkable federal agency career. We have heard of his penchant for pushing the limits in every challenge he has taken. 100 miles an hour with his hair on fire, right, Rick? We have also heard stories of Tim's dedication to those he loved, his willingness to help anyone and everyone. As I have watched and listened over the last few days, a few words you have heard today come to mind: remarkable, extraordinary. While those words are true of Tim, they also describe what I've witnessed and heard about Andrea, who has spent the last few days making sure that everyone was able to pay their respects to Tim while ensuring that Tim was honored in the right ways. Her strength is remarkable, and kindness and kind heart obvious. People find each other, and I believe Tim found that same strength, determination.
Alrighty, I wanted to divert our coverage for just a moment. We'll keep monitoring this, that's for sure. Right now, though, over in San Francisco, there is a little bit of a press conference happening right now on the PG&E power outages. PG&E, who provides the power there in San Francisco, there had been outages that left many businesses closed. It was about, I don't know, a week or two ago, some big outages, but they've been facing still some problems following that. Let's listen in.
One day, and all the meat, beef, every stuff we sold it. We cannot open until on Monday, so we will reopen on Tuesday. Cause after the power off, we should deep clean, and the fish tank broken, and then everything is messed up. We cannot do business. Cause after the Christmas is the most busy day. It's a holiday. We prepare a lot of the live seafood on those weeks. Yeah.
And the form. Talk about.
Yeah, the form is not enough because most Chinese people they don't understand English and the online form is very simple. It's not enough. So I think they should send someone to help every customer, the business, small business, to fill up the detailed form.
And also we
want. Yeah, we want to increase. We want to get the credit. We want to get the cash back as soon as we can. It's 2,500 is not enough to cover.
Yeah. And what do you think the true cost is?
I think it costs a lot. It's cost a lot because it lasts for a long time. Yeah. At least 5,000 to cover for every business. Yeah.
Yeah.
While power was out?
Yeah, because all the fresh meat, chicken, beef, every stuff sold. Because we cannot last for 2.5 to 40 hours.
And she has a lot of live seafood.
Yeah.
Her shop is right across the street. And she has 2 stores
Yeah.
right on the street. And you know, if you're talking a crab, a Dungeness crab,
and the king crab, and then
crabs and lobsters.
Yeah,
and,
lobster.
And shrimp, and all these had to be destroyed because the pumps died. So if you don't have pump, you can't pump the oxygen, and the animals die. And then you had to hire. She had to hire a truck to come and take all the waste out. at her own expense, and now she's trying to chase her insurance company, which is saying, hey, have you filed with PG&E first? And then you're led to this very cumbersome process with no explanation of when they can expect that a review and what the check possibly could be.
Yeah.
So this is a huge loss for small business, and we're saying, hey, can PG&E provide some customer service to help small businesses right now? Because they are, this is the busiest time of year, and these losses cannot simply be recovered in a single day. This is going to take a lot of time.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tina.
Thank you.
Can I ask your last name, Tina?
Zheng, C-H-E-N-G.
I'm sorry.
E-N-G. Yeah. Thank you.
What businesses are yours, Tina? Can you say it on the
Say it on
microphone?
the
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, I have the two seafood market on Orange Street. It's 2227 Orange Street and 2130 Orange Street.
And the names of the businesses?
Also, it's called Orange Seafood Market.
Orange one is right there. That's
Yeah.
the blue
one
side,
right
the
there.
blue one.
Thank you.
Hello.
She owns a grocery store
Yes.
next door to, and she can talk about some of the losses there. Maybe Jason can translate. Jason's a
Yes.
You can.
Yeah, I speak a little bit.
Yes,
English.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So during the Christmas weekend, we prepare lots of stuff like the fresh fruits and also the meat like beef. Because
Alrighty, so again, San Francisco business owners continuing to speak here on the continued power outages they are facing. It has just been a whirlwind for these businesses there in San Francisco. Most recently, a transformer had caught fire, leading thousands of PG&E customers to lose power. That comes just, of course, a week after a massive outage caused about a third of the city to be in the dark. So 125,000 in that third was the 125,000 people that were left without power there. So of course these business owners now speaking to this continued outages, but also the what was explained by that what appeared to be an attorney for these people, the quote cumbersome process they're having to go through in order to get some of these losses covered. So we will continue to monitor that story, that is for sure. In the meantime, though, that will do it for this edition of Brooklyn News Live. It has been a pleasure to be with you guys throughout the last little bit. If you want to stick with us, make sure to follow us on all of our social media pages that have been scrolling there at the bottom of your screen. We will be back here sometime tomorrow afternoon for full coverage of everything in the day. We'll recap everything that happened in this Trump Netanyahu meeting and so much more. In the meantime, that does it for us. Have a great day, guys.